What it do, bruh? Talk of the town, Nintendo, Doc Trey, still holding it down, still make the best games, and you know this, bro. It's the truth. If you don't like it, you can have that seatbelt.
Alright, so I know it's been a few days since I dropped a video, but at least with this one, I came back with something pretty interesting here. So we've seen what's happened with Star Wars Outlaws on the Nintendo Switch 2. It turned out to be not only an impressive port on the Switch 2, but perhaps the most impressive third-party offering on the Nintendo Switch 2 outside of Cyberpunk and WWE 2K25. It ended up being a very impressive port, pulling off a lot of tech that people thought that the Nintendo Switch 2 was not capable of, especially when it comes to a fully integrated ray-traced game. Well, it looks like Ubisoft is not done, because I found something very interesting here. So a graphics programmer for Ubisoft, working as an intern, is actually working on an unannounced game project using the Snowdrop engine. So this is the same engine that runs Star Wars Outlaws, but this game is not Star Wars Outlaws. So it says main task: conducted various performance analysis of offenders on consoles and have done R&D for various game aspects such as ray tracing, diagnosing, CPU, GPU calling, scattering, and upscaling. Main research done on Xbox Series S and Nintendo Switch 2, implementation of various tools for shader artists and tech artists, communication with teams all over Europe, wrote in-depth documentation throughout the optimization process. So this is another unannounced game using the Snowdrop engine headed to Nintendo Switch 2. Now, we've heard rumors that there was other Ubisoft games, quite a few of them, coming to the Nintendo Switch 2. And I know a lot of you guys are like, oh, this is probably Assassin's Creed or something like that. No, it's not Assassin's Creed, because Assassin's Creed games do not use the Snowdrop engine. There's only a handful of games that actually do use the Snowdrop engine. So if we're going by games that are announced or either available already through Ubisoft or announced by Ubisoft that use the Snowdrop engine, there's not a whole lot of games that this could be. Now, so like I said, it's not Assassin's Creed, because Assassin's Creed doesn't use the Snowdrop engine. But a game that does use the Snowdrop engine and does have ray tracing is the Avatar Pandora Frontiers game. And interestingly enough, that game was rumored to be coming to the Nintendo Switch 2. Also, what's interesting about that is that in preparation for the new Avatar movie that's coming out, there's a huge DLC pack that's coming based on the movie to this game that's launching in December. Now, you're probably asking yourself, if this was the game for the Nintendo Switch 2, shouldn't Ubisoft had announced it already or at a direct? But not necessarily. They just came out with Star Wars Outlaws. They want you to be thinking about and buying Star Wars Outlaws right now. This DLC does not drop until December. And even so, a Nintendo Switch 2 version probably wouldn't launch before the end of the year anyway, but they might choose this time to announce it for the Nintendo Switch 2. So, based on the information here, it looks to me that if this is a game that's already out, but there is no Switch 2 version, that this game is more than likely the Avatar game. And it says main research done on Xbox Series S and Nintendo Switch 2. It sounds like this game, if this is a game that's already out on the Xbox, it sounds like they were just porting the Xbox Series S version to the Nintendo Switch 2, or working with that version. The fact that they said the main research was done only on the Xbox Series S and Nintendo Switch 2 version, that tells me that this is an unannounced port specifically for Nintendo Switch 2. Because even when you go to this person's top skills, they don't even mention Xbox. They mention PlayStation 5, which was another individual title that they worked on before this, Nintendo Switch 2, and ray tracing. Like, Xbox isn't even mentioned at all because looks like they didn't work on the Xbox version of a game. They just used the Xbox version on the Series S as the base to potentially port to the Nintendo Switch 2. Now, there's another game that's coming out that's unreleased that uses Snowdrop engine, and that is going to be the new Splinter Cell. But even though I think that game will also come to the Switch 2, I think that this particular reference here is more than likely about Avatar. And I guess we'll probably see in the next few months or so. Star Wars was put on the Switch 2, and Ubisoft wanted to use the enhancements that they've done over the game and release it on the Switch 2 to give new light to the game. Similar thing could be happening with the Avatar game. The Avatar game is not new, but they're coming out with new DLC to launch around the same time as the new movie. And then also, if they have a Nintendo Switch 2 version, that would also put more light on the game here. So yeah, I think the chances of this being Avatar are extremely high due to what's being said here, the engine that's being used, the reference to the ray tracing and all of that. So it's more than likely Avatar. And it's pretty interesting too, because this is one of those games one of those Ubisoft games that I was when they showed it, I was interested in, but I didn't necessarily buy it at launch because, these games always drop like a hot rock. And honestly, then when the game did get cheap and Nintendo Switch 2 is about to come out, I was like, well, maybe I'll just wait for the Switch 2 version. And it looks like that could be coming. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Would you be interested in the Avatar game on the Nintendo Switch 2? I think that this game would actually be maybe harder to port even than the Star Wars Outlaws. This is definitely, in my opinion, a better looking game than Star Wars Outlaws. So it will be very interesting to see how this ends up running on the Switch 2. But, it's the same engine as Star Wars Outlaws. It looks like they're going to have maybe a different team working on this game versus Star Wars Outlaws on the Switch 2, because this is this intern worked at Ubisoft Montpellier. I'm saying that wrong. But anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments section.